Hey, welcome to another episode of Homestead Healthy. We're Bob
and Beth.
hiding behind the camera again. And fall's right around the corner now. We're into September, the vegetables in the garden's doing real well, getting ready for the fall crops to get going. And I start turning to fermentation. You've probably seen I've started doing some videos on kombuchas and fermenting some vegetables. I'll be doing some more on pickling. Just seems to go along with the fall time frame. Along with that, when you start talking fermentation, we like wine. And we try all types of wine. I've got mango wine, peach wine, loquat wine. Anything we grow in the gardens out here, we usually turn into wine. But what I've got here today I want to show you is you don't have to grow it in order to enjoy it. I'm going to show you how to make just a simple table wine. It's ready in 3 weeks. And with the holidays coming up, it's kind of nice to enjoy. It really calls for nothing more than just regular granulated sugar, a little bit of yeast, just regular old active dry yeast. You don't have to go fancy and try and get wine yeast or anything. This recipe works well with just active dry yeast. Other fruits, when I'm doing fresh fruits, I'll often go with a wine yeast, but for this, just regular active dry yeast is fine. And you only need half a teaspoon, so no big deal here. So first things first, just make sure you find 100% pure juice at your local store. I found this one on sale at Aldi's, Publix, any grocery store carries them. You're gonna see it's got water added, it's got different things, that's fine. All you're looking for is the label that says 100% juice. None of those extra added sugars. So, we're gonna empty a little bit out of it. Once we put the yeast in here and it begins to ferment, it'll start to bubble. If you don't take some of this out, it'll come out the top, it'll make a mess. So, you wanna start, let's just take 2 cups. And you don't need to toss this. Throw it right back in the refrigerator or wherever you like. There's 2 cups. And you're ready to proceed. Now, depending on how you like your wine, sweet, unsweet, you'll learn as you go along and you make more of what you like. Most people start out with about 1.5 cups of granulated, just plain old granulated white sugar. I only go a little over a cup, between a cup and 1.25 cups, because it just gets too sweet for me otherwise. What you're gonna do is add that sugar just into that bottle. And yes, you need a funnel. It's really easy to make a mess otherwise. Go. Now what's going to happen is after you add the yeast and you mix everything together, that yeast is going to start feeding on that sugar. And as it feeds on that sugar, it's going to start the fermentation process. It's going to produce alcohol. Now I always get asked, how much alcohol? Well, it's got to be a little bit stronger than your normal store-bought wine. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you're looking at probably 14%, between 14 and 16% alcohol by volume, whereas your store-bought bottles that run probably at least $11 or more are going to run around 12%. After we shake this up, I'm going to grab some tools and we'll measure it. We'll get the percentage, and what'll happen is after it's fermented, after about 3 weeks, we'll take it out, we'll test it, and I'll be able to tell you exactly what the alcohol percentage is. So once you got that in, just half a teaspoon of yeast. Now the hard part, shake it up. Now you do want to shake it till everything's dissolved. And that can take a while. Now, everybody knows, hopefully, when your yeast is eating the sugars, it gives off carbon dioxide. Well, what happens with that? It's just like a bottle of soda. It creates carbonation. The carbonation's going to make this bottle very tight, very strong. So you're going to have to make sure that you don't let it build too high, the carbonation, or it'll blow. Don't mean that like a big explosion. I mean, of course, the bottle will blow, but what I do is, after I've shaken it up real good, I'm still going to shake it some more, I loosen the cap, and you can tell if it's loose enough because you can squeeze it, you can hear the air coming out. You don't want it so it falls off, but you don't want it so tight you can't squeeze it, just enough. And what that's going to do is that'll allow carbon dioxide to escape and go ahead and keep the fermentation process going. Now once it's all shaken up, once it's all set, you just set it in a dark cabinet and wait 3 weeks. Now, let me go get my gauges and we'll see what we're going to have for alcohol by volume. Out, got my hydrometer. What this is going to do is measure for me the starting amount of sugar inside the juices by volume, and then when I start with that, and then I take the final reading after the yeast has done its work and eaten all that sugar, I take a second reading, and then the difference, and I can figure out from there what my alcohol by volume is. So, very simple. As with anything, make sure they're clean and sterile. If I was doing a large batch, I would toss this out after I use it, but since everything's sterile and cleaned already, I'm not too worried. I'm going to set that in, see where it floats. Let's make sure we're looking at the right scale. Specific gravity is 1.110. So I'll jot that down, 1.110. And then in about 3 weeks, when I come back, we'll take the difference. We'll give you an idea of just about how strong this is going to be. But like I say, every time, usually 99% of the time, it comes out to right around 14% alcohol, which is a pretty good deal. And you want to check the bottom. And it's pretty well dissolved. It's about everything's gone. So one more good shake. Back the top off. And you can see, and you'll see when you squeeze the bottle, the lid jumps up and down. You'll know you're in good shape. Go ahead and put that away somewhere, and we'll see you in 3 weeks. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll get into some sour or some corn mash, and we'll get into some other wines and actual technical side of hardcore other types of liquors later on. But for a simple one, just to make to have around and put in the refrigerator, kick back and sip once in a while, the Pomegranate is a nice little table wine, something to enjoy, and hopefully something you'll try. Again, thanks for watching. Take care. God bless. This is Bob.
And Beth.
And thanks again for watching Homestead Healthy.